All right, ladies and gentlemen, so welcome back to another episode on Antonicus Aurelius Motivates. And I'm glad to be back with y'all today. Made it back out here to the trail. And we're about to go ahead and get into this video today. You know, it's a nice day out here today. So anyway, about to go ahead and get into this topic today. You know, I hope everybody is doing well and everything. Just wanted to come back with some more content and keep it going for the new year 2026, you know. Got a lot of goals I'm reaching for, and I hope y'all all are too as well. You know, let's do it, man. But anyway, without any further ado, just gonna go ahead and get started, you know. And what I wanted to talk about today was how the world has been against you, chosen one. The world has been against you since your birth. You know, the system recognized you early on. That's what happened. So what happened was they saw the light inside of you from an early age. They saw the light inside of you from an early age, right? And this is the reason why many of you, you know, you had trouble in school growing up. Teachers mistreated you, and the kids picked on you in school, you know. This is the reason why you went through a lot of the things you went through. Of course, you didn't know that at the time. You was just too young maybe to realize, and you hadn't really, you know, figured things out about exactly what it was about you. You know, but now that you're older, you understand. And especially now after you've went through all the things that you had to go through in your life. A lot of these things have been revealed to you later on in life, showing you, you know, what it was the whole time. So now you understand more clearly. And there's a verse that says in Jeremiah 1:5, it says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. See, God knew you. God knew you before you was even born. He knew you in the womb. There's other verses in the Bible that says he knows even every hair on top of your head. So God knew you, you know, and so this is the reason why you experienced a lot of the things that you experienced. You was already set apart from the time you came out the womb. You had that light inside you. From the time you stepped onto the scene, it's been a fight ever since you came out. You've been fighting since day one. And this doesn't even mean that you had to have, you know, anything special from the Lord on top of you. Everyone, you know, you've been fighting ever since you first came out the womb into the earth. The fight has been on. The battle has been on, because we are all in this spiritual warfare, because it's an invisible war. It's a war in the spiritual realm. And I've spoke about this before, that you can't see with your physical eyes, but it's out here. It's the forces of Satan, the fallen angels, and the spirits that have roamed this earth ever since, you know, the beginning of time. Because Satan was cast down to this earth from the very beginning of time. He's the one, that's the reason why he's the one that tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden from the very beginning to eat the forbidden fruit and told her a lie. that she would not die, that she would have the knowledge of good and evil, and that she would surely not die. And this was a lie from the enemy from the very beginning, because he is a liar. Satan is a liar. He's the father of all lies. And he's the one who has been, manipulating and controlling people with lies for a long time, and deceiving people for a very long time, ever since back then, from the very beginning in the Garden of Eden. So this is a spiritual battle, man, that's been going on from day one with you. And so you was picked on in school, and your teachers mistreated you. I remember in particular, when I was in the first grade, I had one teacher that when we was in the hallways or whatever, like they would always have all the students line up in a single file line to go to wherever they were going for the next part of the day, maybe to lunch, to the cafeteria or wherever. And I had this one particular teacher, this was when I was in the first grade, who would always grab my arm real hard and like squeeze my arm and like twist my arm. And so I told my mom about it later on. But, that continued on for quite a while. And it's like, I know the reason why that happened was because even the teacher saw in me something that they didn't like. It was the spirit inside the teacher. So these are the type of things that happen to you, from a very early age that you notice. Then you notice that you always had like trouble in the school system. You had trouble in the school system because the system recognized you early on. That's the reason why you couldn't never feel right in the school system, and why you had lots of troubles. But also what it was you always had to fight bullies growing up in the projects where you lived too, where you were raised. You had kind of like a hard knock life, You always had to fight them. And many of you, you had to encounter these bullies, and you didn't want to, but like, I remember these one bullies used to always throw rocks at me on my way to the bus stop in the morning. And finally I got tired of it. And so I had to fight them. And this caused a lot of you, especially me, to get in trouble later on inside school. This is probably what caused a lot of you, like me, to end up not doing well in school and to end up being suspended from school or always being in school suspension, because you was always fighting these people, man. And it was because they hated you, not you, but the light inside of you, And so this is the reason why. But you know all this now, You understand all this now. The reasons why all of this happened. When you're thinking back about it all in retrospect, when you remember all these things that you went through at a young age or at a younger age growing up. You remember all of this now. And it's like, it was all teaching you, it was all teaching you lessons in life. Now you know about that you have with you, that you learn from going through these experiences. But you didn't know what it was all about at the time. You just know that it didn't feel good and you didn't like it, you know, and that it hurt you and stuff like that. But that's what happened. Anyway, so, you know, also for many of you, even though you was born into a religious family, especially in my case, you could never accept their religion later on in your life. And for those of you who I've spoken to this about before in my videos, who already know, you know that I came from a religious family in the Mormon faith. But later on in life, I found out things about the Mormon faith and the Mormon religion that revealed a lot of truths to me about things with the founder of the church, the one who they claim is the prophet of the church, Joseph Smith. I found out later on in life through my research a lot of things about him that started raising red flags. And I guess I could do a whole nother video on that subject by itself. But to make a long story short, what happened was, you know, I found out he was a false prophet. The Lord revealed that to me. The Lord revealed it to me, all about him, that he was a 33rd degree Freemason, and also that he had multiple wives and practiced polygamy in the church. I found out all these things through my research, but then here again, the reason why I know I found out these things is because, see, all of you chosen ones, you know what it is you have an eternal guidance system placed inside of you that it was placed inside of you by the Most High to pretty much, it's like a compass, an internal compass, to pretty much give you your true north, to always bring you back, to steer you in the correct direction. This is what many of you have who are chosen, you know, that others don't have. And so this is the reason why so many other people may not really ever leave the faith or the religion that they were born into. It's just kind of like they just accept it as truth. And then they just stay in that the rest of their lives and go ahead and agree with that. But see, that's the difference between you. But this is the reason why God placed you in where he placed you, wherever he placed you, in whatever faith you was in. Because you were the one who would end up exposing all the falsehoods and stuff like that about the things that you was born into. See, you were the generational curse breaker. You were the one who saw through the lies. Because of that, that spirit that was placed inside of you from the very beginning. But these are all things that was by design in your life by the enemy to derail you from your mission, from your assignment. They were things that you had to figure out, and that the Lord showed you as you continued on your walk and went through the things you went through to come back to seek his face. And you seeked his face, and then he revealed more and more things to you as time went on about, what you was born into. And so me personally, I ended up leaving and would not accept the religion that I was raised into. So this caused me to seek the Lord in different places. Of course, now after time has gone by, I've learned so much more in my walk about religion, the nature of religion, and the organized religious system, which has been infiltrated by the enemy, ladies and gentlemen, and which is being utilized to deceive the masses. This is the reason why we all need to come back to the truth, which is the oneness of Jesus Christ, who came to, and God, the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who sent his son, and his son came to live and to die for our sins, and to show us the blueprint, and to give us the knowledge that we needed to know about, and to teach us all the things we needed to know about. So when we walk on this walk, as we've walked and lived in this life, we all need, and as we're walking, we all need to look no further than him to see what we need to know. He gave us the perfect example of exactly how we ought to live. But moving right along, as you got older, they tried to mess you up, and you got into trouble because of it. Listening to bad music, smoking weed, and drinking alcohol. Okay? These are the things that you know now. These are the things that you know now. As you have grown in your walk, are the weapons of the enemy to distract you from your purpose and from what you were called to do. And they are weapons of his to destroy people. And they are destroying millions of people's lives every day. We can see this now, especially now in 2026. And I'm not just talking about weed and alcohol. I'm talking about all the different types of substances abuses out there right now. There's a lot of different things out there, and it's made way worse even now with all the different types of drugs out there. And I could do a whole video on that, but I'm not going to. But also, you was influenced. You was influenced when you were in your teens and when you were growing up by the music, by bad music, and by some of the people who you were raised around, who were probably raised around families who never worship God or never read the Bible or never teach their kids right from wrong, or probably never hug their kids or show love to their kids. So you got influenced by a lot of these people and these things. These are also things that the enemy placed in your path on purpose to try to throw you off and derail you from what you came to do. But this is all things that you have learned now. And this is the reason why, like I said, This is how the world has been against you since your birth, chosen ones. This is how the world has been against you since your birth. Since you came into the earth, since you came into the world, the system already recognized you early on. You know, but moving right along, you know, to what I wanted to get, and I'm trying to get this message across to you today about exactly what has happened in my personal life. This is just me. I'm speaking from my personal experiences, okay? As I have continued to grow on this walk, and as I am continuing to grow even now, like, I'm still not where I want to be perfectly, but I'm working towards that every day. But as I've been working towards that, you know, when I think back about everything in the past and all, these are things that, you know, the Lord has shown to me. God has shown this stuff to me. And it really is the truth. It really is what has happened. But anyway, moving right along to what I wanted to keep on talking about this. You know, these patterns, you know, see, what happened was these patterns continued to happen in your life, in your early adult life. Some of you were raised by a single parent. As me, for instance, I was raised by a single parent, by just my mom. And at an early age, I was, you know, without a lot of direction from a father figure. A father figure can give a young man a lot more direction, you know. And when you're lacking that in your life, then that causes a lot of problems to happen. This is the reason why a lot of young men, you know, in low-income areas and places where there's a lot of like drug activity and gang activity, get involved in gangs and get involved with the wrong mentors who are influenced by the devil and who are leading them astray because they don't have that direction. You know what I mean? And so many of you didn't have that direction, so this caused you to get into trouble and stuff like that, as it was in my case personally, you know. But also, you know, you had certain gifts when you was growing up. You know, you had certain gifts that were placed inside of you by the Most High. These are things that maybe some of you had that you found later on as you were growing up. Some of you probably could draw, or you could, you know, do things like artwork and stuff like that. Like, you were very artistic in different fields. And later on, you saw other things about yourself, other gifts that you had, maybe musically inclined. Some of you were good with music, or you were just good in sports, athletically and stuff like that. You had gifts in that. And this, whatever your gifts were, whether it was speaking, writing, whatever, you know, this caused you, others to be jealous of you as you were coming up. You know what I mean? But all of these things, and I'm going right back to the point. I'm sticking to the point, ladies and gentlemen. All of these things were all by design from the very beginning, by the enemy, Satan, to derail you from what you came to do. It was all there by design. But this is things that you have learned in your walk as you continue to grow. These are the things that you have learned now, and that you're still learning. That you're learning about, because you're all the time transforming in your walk. You know, you're all the time advancing in your walk. and becoming the best version of yourself, especially when you have put yourself into alignment with the Most High, with His Word, with the Word of God, and you're living for that, and you're living for Him. You're no longer living for yourself. You are no longer your own. You are His. You are being utilized by Him, especially if you've been willing and you've already said yes and you've answered the call to what you came to do. This is what's going on with you, many of you. And so, also, so like, and this is my last talking point, but I'm just hitting all these talking points right here. You took hits your entire life, chosen ones, and you made bad choices because of bad influences, being raised by a single parent. But your internal guidance system always corrected your path and put you right back on the right path you were supposed to be on. See, that's what happened. Your internal guidance system is like your internal compass. It always brings you back. It brought you back to the truth, to what you came to do. But many of you, when you was going through what you was going through, you didn't know a lot of the things that you know now in the Word of God. Many of you, when you was in the world and when you was living for the world, you didn't understand things about what was going on, because you were just influenced by everything that was negative and negative people, because they make it glamorized to look enticing and cool, the negativity and all the nonsense that we see right now in the world. They glamorize it, they glorify sin, they glorify what's wicked and evil. This is the satanic system that we're in. But that system recognized you from the very beginning. But I had this verse right here that I was reading, and this is what you know now, It's in 1 Peter 5:8. It says, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour." Excuse the noise of the machinery. I guess they out here working today. But I hope that came across clear. You know now, the reason why it's very important for you to keep a clear, sober mind. And I'm telling y'all, ladies and gentlemen, right now, it's even more important than ever to stay with a clear, sober, sharp mind. The deception is at an all-time high. It really is. And it's misleading so many people. You've got to be totally aware of your surroundings at all times. You've got to know who you're dealing with. And you've got to have your discernment tuned in. Many of you learned this, chosen ones, because you done experienced what you've experienced by dealing with the wrong people. You are more careful about who you choose to let enter into your life. And you're not just gonna let anybody just come into your life without knowing that they're Holy Spirit filled, and that they are the type of person that's gonna give you encouragement. They're gonna give you love and show you kindness. And they're gonna be the type of person that's gonna be there for you and be loyal. Even when your back is turned, they're not gonna talk about you. They're gonna be the type of people that's gonna be ready to go to war for you, man. That's the type of people you already know, chosen one. You are only gonna allow those type of people into your life. But anyway, I also had these other verses I had written down today. It says in Proverbs 27:12, ladies and gentlemen, that the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it. See, this is the reason why you were able to see what you had to see. You saw the danger. This was the Spirit guiding you the whole time to show you the danger, to show you what to do and how to take refuge. But also I had this verse right here in Psalm 46:1-3. It says, God is our refuge and strength. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth would give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea. You know, it says, we will not fear. Therefore we will not fear. We don't fear, ladies and gentlemen. We don't. Us chosen ones, we don't fear. The whole earth can shake, the mountains can fall in the sea, and you know, we don't care because we already know we're secure with Him. With Him. And that's all that matters. And that's the best thing about this whole thing in knowing Him and having our personal relationship with Him is when you have that with Him, you don't have nothing to worry about, ladies and gentlemen. You know, when you are in your relationship and in alignment, you don't have a thing in the world to worry about. There is nothing no one can do to you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. And every tongue that rises against you in accusation will be silenced. And so it's that time right now, you know, for us to silence the mouths of all our enemies. God is going to silence the mouth of your enemies. They are not going to be able to do anything to you, to harm you. And there's also another verse, and I'm not sure where it is right now, but I know it is in there in the Bible. It says, do not be afraid of those who can kill the body but cannot take the soul, but be afraid of the one who can kill the body and take the soul and send it into hell. That's the one who you got to be afraid of, ladies and gentlemen, the Most High God. That's the only one you got to fear. So anyway, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the video because I really don't want to go over too long because I'm gonna have to stop and upload all this now. But you know, I hope this message helped somebody out today. I hope this helped y'all out, chosen ones. You know what it is. You know the reason why everything has been the way it is. It's because ever since the very beginning, you know, the world has been against you since your birth, chosen one. The system recognized you early on. That's what happened. So just remember that. That's the reason why why they never liked you. That's the reason why they probably never still ever gonna like you. But just keep being who you are. Keep being your authentic self. And don't never let nobody or nothing stop you. Till the next one, I hope y'all are all having a good day. I hope everything's going well. I hope everybody's doing well. Till the next one, peace, love, light, joy, and blessings to each and every one of you. For those of y'all who are new here or who have not known of me, go ahead, click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you can be notified every time when I drop new content. And for those of you who have already been with me on my channel, you are valued, you are highly appreciated, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. May we all together grow and motivate one another. So with that being said, y'all have a good day. Peace.